Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ifactner's Learn to Write in Urdu video tutorial series. In today's video tutorial, we will learn to write the initial position, middle position, and final position shapes of 4 characters of Urdu alphabet. These characters are toay, zoay, and gayn. You will notice that we write toay and zoay in the same way in their independent positions: initial position, final position, and middle positions, while we write and gayn in the same way. So you can learn to write toay and you will be able to write zoay and gayn in the same way. Let's start our tutorial. Today's first letter is toay, and we can write toay in its independent position as a straight line and then this oval-like shape, and we get ourselves toay. In initial position, that is when toay appears in the beginning of the word, then you write it toay like this and add a connector. For example, we have a word tota. Now let's see how do we write tota. Te wow to, toy, wow, to, and toy, and then alif, tota. Tota means parrot. Let's write one more time, and this time I will use different colors so you can see how do we write toy. First you write a straight line, then this balloon-like structure, and then we add a connector. And we write the next word, which is wow. And then you write toay, which is like this with a connector, and then you write alif. So it's tota. Tota means parrot. Now when toy appears in the middle of the word, then we add one connector or an extension before toy and another connector or extension after toy. So you write toy like this. This is the connector, and then you write toy like this, and then another connector. There is a word called batakh. Batakh means duck in Urdu, and let's see how do we write batakh. So we start with bay, add an extension, and then write toay. Add another extension, and then we write khe, batakh, like this. Add a dot under bay and a dot on top of khe, batakh. Batakh means duck. Let me show you one more time how can we write it. So we start with bay, then toay, and then khe, batakh. Batakh is duck, a duck. And now let's see how do we write toy when it appears at the end of the character. So you just add the last connector to connect it to the second last word and write toy like this. Add a connector and then write toay. Now there's a word called, or you can say name, basit. Basit. So we write it be alif ba and sin toay. Basit. Let me show you one more time. Be alif ba and then you write sin and add a connector. And then you add a connector for toay and write toay like this, basit. Let's move forward, and as I have already told you that we write zoay in the same way as toay. You just have to add a dot on top of zoay. So zoay in its independent position is written like this, zoay. In its initial position, we write zoay like this and then extend a little bit of its to connect it to the next word. So zoay in its independent position is like this, and you can see that automatically in its independent position there is a there is a connector with zoay on zoay. So and when we write it in its initial position, we just have to add a little more extension and you can connect it to the next word. So there is a word called zaroof. Zaroof means utensils. So let's see how can we write zaroof. Zoe with an extension. And then you can write re, wow and fe. Zaroof. Let me show you one more time. Zoe, re, wow and fe. Zaroof. Zaroof are utensils. When zoe appears in the middle of the word or in between two characters, then you need to add two extensions or two connectors like this. So you write zoe like this and then add another connector. And when zoe appears at the end of the word, then just like toay, you need to add a connector and write zoe. You need to add a connector and then write zoe like this. Let's move forward to an and gan. Now we write an and gan in the similar way. So if you learn how do we write an, then you will learn how do we write gan as well. And you will see that unlike most of the characters, when we write an in its middle position and in its final position, then they are written differently when an appears in its initial position or when it is written in its independent position. So to write n in its independent position, we make a small semicircle and then a big semicircle. Small semicircle, big semicircle, small semicircle or C and a big C, and we get ourselves n. Now when we write n in its initial position, then we just take its first part and add an extension. So you take the first part of n and then add a little extension. Now let's see what kind of a word can we write starting with n. There is a word called ilm. Ilm. And with an extension, then lam, and then you write meme. Ilm means education. Let me write it one more time. And lam, so meme. Ilm. Ilm means education. Now when an appears in the middle of the word, Then because we don't want to take off our pen from the paper, therefore we write it like this. So instead of writing it like this and then this and then this, we write n like this, and connector, and then write n like this. So a connector, and you write n like this. So you just make a type of a triangle, an inverted triangle. So let me show you one more time. Connector, and then another connector. Now there is a word called mollim. Mollim means the one who gives ilm, that is the teacher. So let's see how do we write mollim. So we have meme, and then with an extension we write an, and then lam, and in the end we have meme. Mollam. Mollim means the one who gives education, the teacher. Let me write it one more time. Meme and lam, meme. Mollim. Now when n appears at the end of the word, then we write it like this. So you add an extension and then that similar symbol, and then the last part of n. So you, with an extension, you make this symbol and then the big semicircle. So we have a word called ka. Ka means vomiting. So how do we write ka? Cough, and then ye. So, and then an. Ka. Or ma. And it's ka. Ka means basically vomiting. Let me show you one more time. So you start with cough with two dots, or let's put the dots in the end. Then you write ye with extension, and then you write in. Two dots under ye and two dots on top of cough. Ka. Now let's move forward to gayn, and the good news is that you write gayn in the same way as an, but with just a dot on top of it. So to write gayn on in its independent position, we write it like this with a dot on top of it, a small semicircle, and then a big semicircle and a dot on top of it. Now when we write gayn in its initial position, then you take the first part and add this extension. You take the first semicircle and then add the extension just like an. There's a word called gubara. Gubara means a balloon. And let's see how do we write gubara. Gayn, be, alif, re, he. Gubbara. Gayn pesh, be, gub, be alif ba, re, hera. Gubbara. Let me show you one more time. First you write gayn, and then you write bara. Be, alif, re, he, and put a dot on top of gayn. Gubbara. Now just like an, when it appears in the middle of the word, you need to add two connectors and make a symbol like this. So connector, gayn, and the other connector. There's a word called bughaz. Bughaz means jealousy. Let's see how do we write bughaz. Be, and then you write gayn, and then uh, zwat, boogers. Boogers means jealousy. Or there's a word called bagal, be, gan, lam. Bagal. Bagal is your armpit. Or if something is near us, then you say it bagal mein hai, means it's just near us. Now, when gan appears at the end of the word, then just like and you need to add a connector, make this round symbol. So you have to make this kind of a symbol and put a dot on top of it, and you get yourself gan. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you would have liked this video tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, then please use the comment section below, and please share it with your friends and family. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe to my channel. It will mean a lot. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Until then, take care, keep learning, keep enjoying. Good day.